Through the first 50 games of the season, the Red Wings are sitting at 30, 16, and 4 with 64 points. You have to go back 11 years to see a higher point total through the first 50. Steve Yzerman made a couple of deals during the summer that are having a huge impact on what the team's doing right now. We're all wondering if he has another big deal waiting. This is your 7-Minute Wings. Welcome back to the Red Wings Report with Strings and Pucks. Please click the like and subscribe button and share this out. Head over to hockeyhotstove.com where I write the Red Wings column. So I apologize that this is late today. I may not have another update until the post game after Detroit faces Toronto. Just a little bit of a breakup in the schedule here. As the trade rumors continue to swirl, and right now the Elias Pettersson deal is getting the most traffic just because I think it's such a high profile possibility, I wanted to take a step back and look at the timeline from last summer. If you guys remember, the postseason press conference for Steve Yzerman was brutal. You had questions asking Steve Yzerman if he thought he deserved to be fired. You had people asking if he should have made moves just to try to get into the playoffs, and you still have fans kind of clamoring in that direction. But the press absolutely tore into him, and what I thought was interesting is Yzerman really doesn't react much. So heading into the draft and heading into free agency, people were looking for big moves over the summer, and they didn't come. The John Gibson deal was the highest profile thing Steve Yzerman did last summer, and it was a trade. It sent Peter Mrazek and a couple of draft picks out to Anaheim, and John Gibson came back in return with 2 seasons left on his deal. I remember at the time, around the draft time when this happened, saying that this deal could have a big impact on the season, but we'll have to see. And the start to the year, it was just brutal. It wasn't until December when Gibson took off, and I just went over those stats again. He's won 15 of 17 in that time and really carrying this team right now. The other deal, and again, it wasn't really heralded much, was signing James Van Riemsdyk. And just like John Gibson, it took till the start of December for JVR to really take off. Since that time, he's at near a point per game clip. And again, you can take a look at those stats that were in the last video. So those 2 deals, which were really not heralded at the time, have had a major impact on this season. One other thing that came up, and I was among this group, were people looking at Cop and Comfer saying their contracts have not worked out, looking for them to be traded, looking for them to be waived. That was such a horrible take right now because Cop he's a point per game in January and near a point per game since the beginning of December, where he, kind of took off as well. So the decision not to move Cop, not to, kind of move on from that had a big impact as well because a lot of people, including myself, were saying we need to move on from this contract. But the focus had been on things like the Jake Walman trade, basically getting nothing for him, losing Shane Gostisbehere, those deals, signing Justin Hall, right? Those deals that didn't work out. Well, Yzerman's not doing anything different right now, and I'm trying to learn to appreciate this more. He ignores the noise and functions. So even when you have someone in the press asking him if he deserves to be fired, or if he should have just made a deal to squeeze into the playoffs and got rid of some assets for basically just that shot. He just keeps functioning the way he functions. Not a lot of rumors get leaked, not a lot happens. And as frustrating as it is, as you look at this season, this is his best season in Detroit by far, right? Since 2019, he's been climbing the ranks, and 2019 was the disaster season that saw Detroit end in last place, but the lottery pushed them out to 4th where they select Moritz Seider. Detroit only had 39 points in the 2019-2020 season. It was horrific. And now you fast forward ahead, they have their highest point total since 2014-2015, where the team ended with 100 points, third in the Atlantic, and the next year would be their last trip to the playoffs, where they ended with 93 points. And in 2015-2016, at this point, through 50 games, they had 58 points, 6 points less, ended with 93 points, and get into the playoffs. Right now, this team is on track to make the playoffs. And we're all hoping that Yzerman can make a deal, especially for a defenseman. The trade targets that we're hearing about, Elias Pettersson, Justin Falk, Dougie Hamilton's been mentioned, Artemi Panarin. I've heard people talk about both Luke and Braden Shen. Someone here in the comments mentioned Robert Thomas out of St. Louis. He signed through 2031 and currently on IR. But if they could swing a deal like that, and I haven't heard any other rumors on that front, that would be huge. I'd like to see the team make a swing for Carson Soucy out of New York. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent. That's not a real glamorous acquisition, but I think Soucy would be a solid second pair left side guy, so that's something I'd like to see them work on. But regardless, I don't think Yzerman gets enough credit for the things that he does right. He's still on the same path he was then, but right now the team's winning. And of course, Todd McClellan's a huge part of that. So I'm learning to appreciate that Yzerman doesn't pay attention to the noise, and that every reaction from the press or the fans, it doesn't seem to steer him in any different direction. He's going to keep functioning the way he does, and personally, and I hope I'm wrong, I think it's going to be a quiet trade deadline. They're going to find a piece that works at a price that works. But as always, let me know what you think. Yzerman does his own thing, regardless of what people say. This was your 7 Minute Wings.